Bryce, let's start with the Cotton Bowl here in Dallas. We got Alabama and Cincinnati. You've been a Cincinnati fan since the beginning of the year. You've just believed in these guys, but that was obviously with their regular season schedule. You thought they had a chance to go and run the table and play really good football, which they have. But now they're going up against what we've called on our After Dark show, the Roman Army in Alabama. And you've got the Heisman Trophy winner leading that team. Alabama is currently a favorite at 13.5 points. Thank you to Bet Rivers for that line. But Bryce, what are your kind of, as we lead into the week, high-level thoughts on this game? Do you like Cincinnati? Do you think they have a shot? Are you rolling with Alabama? And if Cincinnati does have a chance, what must happen for them to stay in the ballgame?
Yeah, well, I'll take the second question first, right? So I think that this is all going to come down to Desmond Ridder and really Jerome Ford and their front five versus Alabama's front seven. If they can get something going and allow a little bit of momentum, and as we know, and kind of what we've always been talking about in the spread offense, it is typically a run first offense. People don't realize that all the time because guys put up big numbers, receivers put up big numbers, but all that is predicated on you being able to run and establish the run in that offense. So can Jerome Ford and these guys have a day? And they did against Georgia last year, and again it allowed them to stay in the game with a really talented Georgia game or Georgia team rather, all the way up to a field goal at the end. So so that's to me the keys, especially on the offensive side. On the defensive side for Cincinnati, or the offensive side, however you want to look at it for Alabama, I think all eyes are going to be on Bryce Young. I think really coming to his own, especially as he had his Heisman moment several times over again, but especially in this Georgia game, sealed it. The guy's just playing really well, and I think Billy O and him are really starting to gel in terms of the execution of the offense. So it's can Cincinnati's defense, who is a really good defense, and I think they're actually almost better in the back end than they are up front. Can they do what they need to do to keep Bryce Young and these guys from driving 75, 80 every time out there on the offense to score points. Those would be my kind of keys of the game that I like. Trevor, what are some of yours in this game particularly?
I completely agree with what you're saying. I think eliminating Bryce Young and that offense from making the big play. We always talked about when we were playing, eliminating those explosive plays. And what we would call an explosive play is any pass play over 25 yards and any run play over 15 yards, right? So eliminating explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball for Cincinnati, going up against the Heisman Trophy winner who's capable of making a lot of those, I think is a huge key to the game. And then just eliminating mistakes, obvious things, right? Not turning the ball over, short yardage goal line, making sure you have clean exchanges, making sure that you're taking what the defense gives you on the offensive side of the ball, as opposed to trying to force things in there. A second and 5, get 3 is fine. Instead of trying to force something in there and create a turnover, you just got to play clean, sound ball and not try to bite off the whole apple, with one throw here and there. And also the last thing, obviously, one of the things that most people don't talk about or think about a lot, but it's the special teams game. Alabama has been historically very sound on special teams, specifically in their coverages. Their coverage teams are always, they put their next big name up there, right? You had Reuben Foster running around knocking cats out. You had all these big name guys running down on kickoff and making big plays in the game. So if Cincinnati can, on all sides of special teams, make some plays, I think that's a big key to them having a chance. Now, this is talking about them having a chance. In reality, I think that Alabama is a 13.5 point favorite for a reason. I think that they proved going up against Georgia in the SEC title game that, yeah, they're gettable, like we've talked about this whole year, but they're still Alabama. And when toe meets rubber, they're going to be ready to play in a big time game. They have the experience too. Experience goes a long, long way. And I know you know this, Bryce, but when you have a young guy that is even just sitting on the sidelines watching his team win a national championship, he's still ingesting the aroma of what it's like to play in a big time game like that. And that's just an edge that Alabama has. So I like Alabama in the football game. I think what I've been saying all along since this matchup came out, I think it'll be a pretty tight first half. Cincinnati will come out with their ears pinned back, but they just don't have enough in the tank to stay with or even outlast Alabama in the second half. So I'm going to go with Alabama in this one, and I'm going to say that they're going to be a 14-point winner in this one, Bryce.
Yeah, I love it. Real quick too, before we go to maybe some predictions on the score, but so let's kind of dive in a little bit to these QBs. I know that's kind of a fun thing for us to look at. Maybe for our listeners, who knows? I like doing it anyway. So you got Desmond Ridder, who is, and especially for this game too, you have kind of a seasoned vet and a very touted, first year starter, rookie, if you will. And Bryce Young for Alabama. So will you tell me a little bit about, what you like about Desmond Ridder going up against the Alabama defense, maybe a big play atmosphere, kind of like what you were just talking about. Also, what you like about, Bryce Young going up against a Cincinnati Bearcats team who's coming a lot of momentum, hasn't lost in 2 years.
Yeah, so neat story in Desmond Ridder, right? I mean, he's a 2-star recruit on Rivals coming out of high school. Didn't have all the offers, wasn't this big recruited quarterback like Bryce Young was. But what he's done is he's just gone to work. Actually, our boss man, Rob, sent us over a text the other day. Desmond Ridder was recruited to Cincinnati by a head coach who is now a politician in Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
So he's seen change in the coaching staff, but you can just tell the kid has just come to work. He's got confidence in himself. And I think that's the biggest thing at that position is confidence. And now he's leading a team that is in the college football playoff. And when he steps out there, his shoulders are back. You can tell from that confidence when he plays that he believes in his chest that he belongs on that field with anybody. So that's what I like about him. Bryce Young, he's a Heisman winner, right? I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. Throughout the year, people were talking about, he could be a game manager. But he continued to put that team and specifically that offense on his back and show that he can make all the throws, show that he's mature enough as a young guy to be a leader of a team like that, and then go out in the SEC championship and truly, truly, truly earn that Heisman, in my opinion, by just making some incredible throws, not making mistakes, showing that he was the best player on the field. Not only that night, but the best player in college football. What are your love to hear your thoughts on both of these guys? I know that you're of high praise for Desmond Ridder, and then obviously, again, without question, Bryce Young's just a phenomenal player himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Desmond Ridder has really just kind of flown under the radar a little bit in terms of who we've been talking about, the Pickett's and obviously the Bryce Youngs, guys that went to New York. I really, felt like coming off of the Georgia game into this year that Desmond had a really good shot at being in New York. Started slow a couple of games, obviously. But look, all that being said, Cincinnati's been driven by him in the QB position for the last, 3 or 4 years, especially the last 2 going undefeated. So he has a lot to do with that, has a lot of moxie. I like what you said about the confidence because I can totally see it. You could definitely see that he makes every throw. He makes, the go balls on the sidelines, makes his second level throws, over backers, underneath safeties, and just manages the game really well in that system. Where I think that I actually really like Bryce Young probably better in this matchup is just, watching that Auburn game again, when he stepped out there on that final drive, it was like the ball. There was absolutely no fear in his eyes whatsoever, like he's been doing it for years. And he just operated. Bill O'Brien's offense is not an easy offense to operate. There's a lot of checks. There's a lot of things in terms of pure progressions, half-field reads, things that are just, going from high school at Mater Dei to Tuscaloosa is a big jump. And I think he's just done it, really, really well. And then his intangibles are just so good. I mean, he is a natural thrower as good as any as we've seen, especially come through Alabama. As he's kind of been lighting up the record books for freshmen. So I think he's going to have a really, really good career. But this, again, kind of going back into comparison on these QBs, it's about who can manage the moment. There's going to be ups, downs. These games always present those. The ball's not going to fall your way all the time. Can you kind of step your team? And so it's going to be, a lot of fun watching these two kind of battle it out.
Agreed. Yeah, I think, people have been wanting Cincinnati to get in. And I think a lot of people, once they get in, it's like, did we really want this matchup? But I think it's going to be a phenomenal Cotton Bowl to watch. I think that place is going to be packed out. It's a fun venue to play in Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. So I will be obviously glued to the TV, ready to watch that QB matchup, and hopefully Cincinnati gives Bama a run for their money.